the Anchorage Advisory Committee, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
The flag of the United States of America, the republic for which it stands, a nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
And all members except Bob Beasley and Kathy Light are present, and Rexanne Hossifus is here.
Morning.
Elsie and Austin. Is there any public comment? Anybody want to make a public comment?
Hi there. Helen Gray, Ball 23. I understand that law enforcement is here to talk about the mooring field, and at that time I'd like to address the committee on that. Possible.
I think you make your comments now, and then you'll have an opportunity at the end.
Okay, I didn't know if there was going to be a presentation or something like that. And I'd say that we're having problems with wakes in the mooring field. And I'd say that most, but far from all, people are considerate. The people causing the problems, I think, fall into one of two categories. They're either clueless or they don't care. Sometimes both. Weekends are obviously the most acute just because of the number of boaters. And nearly every demographic is represented in people creating big wakes. It affects the mooring field. It affects structures along the shore. It affects marine life. So I'd like to ask for enhanced presence by Marine Patrol, additional signage, and perhaps a reminder to the rental companies, the people that rent their vessels.
Thank you. Any other public comment? And Helen, I think Austin will address some of your issues about the signage and the wakes during his presentation there. For public comment, we'll go to approve the minutes. Anybody have a motion to approve the minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion by Doug. Any second?
Greg Holmes, second.
Any discussion? I have a discussion real quick, but something that was not included, but I wanted to make sure it's covered, and I think we can cover it under, other thing was that it doesn't need to be added, but can I make a comment now before, or let me just pass the minutes first. All in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimous. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. The only comment was to Rexanne. I don't know if you had a chance to watch the tape or listen to us at last meeting. One thing that was excluded was, I wish Bob was here, but Mike's here. Bob Beasley made a comment about missing the opportunity with Bayside. And Mike had a comment also, so maybe when it gets to your turn, you could just do that comment that you made last week so that Rexanne can hear it and pass it on to council. Okay, next, mooring field and staff report. Austin?
Yeah, season's full bloom. We've got a good turnout in the field right now with boats coming and going. Pump outs are pretty scheduled regularly. We're getting about 15 a day on our pump out scheduled. So it's staying pretty constant. We did have somebody take out a channel marker right under the bridge there, channel marker number 5, green 5, I believe. I have it being replaced Monday is a scheduled replacement as soon as the contractor could come down there. So I have been getting a lot of complaints about boats getting closer into the mooring field because of the channel marker that is missing. So we're trying to get that up as soon as we can. We are having issues with some of our special purpose buoys that are surrounding the mooring field. Some of them are a little outdated. I did have a meeting with our engineer yesterday, and we're just coming up with pricing and replacing all of our special purpose buoys around the mooring field there. I know that the letter A buoy is being submerged under high current. So we're looking into changing up from cylindrical buoys and going into more of a flatter profiled buoys than what we have now. That will be with the price increase and stuff like that as well, but that just comes with it. We should be starting dive operations next week, starting our 3-month inspections, or our 3-month inspections of the systems. That will come with a cleaning of the systems as well. So all the boaters could be expecting a visit from the dive boat for occasion as we do all the systems throughout the days there. Other than that, we still have one boat that is delinquent in the field. I believe we're legal department still running that one through the system, and we're still just trying to catch up with the legal process on getting that one out of the field or whatever process that leads to. And as for the no wake, yeah, we have seen an influx in boating, and I have been noticing, an influx in weight that goes with that. But it is just the inexperience of boaters out there in the area, and then people coming into this area not knowing the area as well. They are coming a lot closer. I've noticed a lot more rentals coming through the mooring field. A lot more charters that are the Fisher charters have been in the mornings. We've seen an influx of them tying off to areas, whether it be fendered systems under the bridges or the channel markers, private docks and stuff like that. So there has been an influx in pretty much everything as far as boating goes, especially that is expected at this time. But other than that, we're just dealing with issues as they come. Dock was running full speed. We are dealing with the issues with DOCO as they arise. We're adapting to changes that are occurring right now. So, for right now, there's no real big issues going on.
Any law enforcement presence out there?
Oh, yeah, we got law enforcement. We've had a couple issues that not only the Lee County Sheriff's Department, but FWC has been out in the field here occasionally as well, doing annual checks and stuff like that.
See anything?
Not under this section, no.
Okay, next section, expansion of mooring field, update on that?
So last month or so, we were in communications with the HOA and discussing the heartburn that they may have regarding the Harbor House units. And it's pretty much come to a standstill because the HOA does not want a public restroom there. And just like any other town facility, if we're open to the public, normal hours, Newton, Bay Oaks, don't not allow the public to come in and use the restroom. So we haven't had any further discussions with them because of that, where we're at with the expansion. We've looked for other alternatives throughout the island. Bob can speak better to the market. It's hot right now. Buy for our economy, but not if we're looking to buy something right now. So we'll plan on preparing the RFP come summer and put it out, hoping we get some responses from public. So
Is the attorney going to give us a report or a feedback on the issues, or it's just at a stalemate, it's just at a stop
yes,
right now?
correct.
I just want to announce Bob Beasley is here now, and just to catch up on that, Bob, I just mentioning to Rexanne that it was not in the minutes, your comment regarding Bayside last week, so I thought maybe you can give those, you and Mike can give those comments again when it gets either to your member item or service provider next, so that she can know what you said last week.
Of course,
Apologize
everybody's
for
always
being-
welcome to email me.
Okay.
Apologize for being late, but I couldn't find anywhere to park, so I had to invent one.
Also, so the actual expansion, we are still pending the DEP permit. We're very, very close. We did just get the waterway marker permit back, which is part of getting the submerged land. And so, like we've discussed in the past, the plan is once we get the DEP permit for the expansion, DEP, quote unquote, closes the book on that permit. So then that one's finalized and that one's done. And then the plan would be to apply for the Bayside Park, the marginal dock. So that's kind of where we're at with that. We've already gotten the Army Corps of Engineer permit. So we're just kind of, that DEP permit's lingering. We also are hoping to get that DEP permit before April 6th. We are applying, council did approve for us to apply for a grant. And we really want to include that last piece to the puzzle in our grant application. That's where we're at with the mooring field expansion.
So you're in communication and it's moving along still.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
The expansion of the mooring field, any other?
Mike Ratliff for the record. Public restroom stalemate idea, was that, I just need to be refreshed. Or did they believe that the restroom was going to be open 24 hours a day?
We told them that it would be open when staff was there.
That
Just
was
like
an issue,
town
that
hall.
still was an issue with them.
They do not want a public restroom. So, once that was said, we halted our.
Any other discussion on expansion of the mooring field? We'll move on to same topic, upland service provider update. Is that, do you have any more on that, Chelsea?
Just again, we're looking for alternatives, for anything else that's out there. If, you see something, albeit on Estero Island, which I know is the preferred from this committee, but even as far as San Carlos Island, if there's any opportunities for the upland services. I know Bay Oaks has always, been mentioned as like the last option. We're still, kind of at a stalemate now with that and looking around, and like I said, we're going to put out the RFP because we are required to provide those services for the mooring field, so.
When we put that out for advertisement, there's maybe a couple more people we could get in touch with, such as John Richard. He has a motel and water frontage over there, and any other, maybe just make sure we make them aware of it when we put out the ad.
They can be notified prior to the RFP going out, but once it's out, we're under a cone of silence.
Okay.
Staff is, at least, or those on the selection advisory committee.
If I may, Mike Ratliff again for the record. I see the upland provider and the expansion of the field as mated to one another. We cannot find an upland provider situation. I see no reason to go ahead with the expansion of the mooring field.
The expansion of the mooring field, getting permission from DEP, et cetera, is the first step. We can have that and
Right.
not install
Correct.
can have that before we install it, and that's perpetual. There's no time limit on when we have to install the balls.
I don't want to, DEP isn't going to issue it and say, don't ever do the project. The intent of applying for the permits and going and spending the money is to do it. But I can tell you, just for example, with the grant, if hopefully, we are awarded the grant, it takes at least a year and a half. Get all of the documents executed to get the award. The permit is just the first step. Once that permit is issued, then funding, and then you have to bid out the project, and then if we get the grant funding, that's all pending that timeline. And I honestly, it's a long shot, but we got the go-ahead today to do the mooring field. It wouldn't happen until at least fall of 2022, just because of the timelines and how long it takes. So, just look how long it's taken us to get the permits, a couple of years.
That's all phased in, so.
I understand it is phased in, however, it seems rather counterintuitive for me at least to expand something where we already feel like we do not have an adequate facility on shore.
Bob, did you want to take this opportunity to maybe just repeat what you said last week while Rexanne's here, and then maybe Mike can, and anybody else can add to that?
Yeah, Bob Beasley for the record. Originally, we had looked at where the fountain was, down between Snug Harbor and Nervous Nellies, and yes, council decided no on that, and I just want to say they've definitely missed the boat. Already own property there, if you had a ton of space and you had all the facilities this town's going to need in the future to have a fountain there, whatever you're going to put there is fine. But the town needs that property for the mooring field. It's, very expensive property. Things like that on the bay today zone commercial would be well in excess of $2 million or more, if you could even get somebody to sell it to you. So, you control your own destiny if you control your own property you own. You don't have, the building they designed to put there, yeah, that was beautiful, but that was very expensive. You don't have to put up a $4 or $5 million building there. You could put up something very nice, simple. If you're worried about the view to the bay, you elevate it, you use part of the downstairs for storage, you leave the rest open so you can see out to the water. You put your facilities upstairs and you throw in a handicap, an elevator that's handicap approved for, people that don't want to walk the stairs to the shower or whatever we're going to have up there. I really strongly suggest, especially with what I think I just heard, you don't want public restrooms over in the other place, the condo place we were looking at. Well, with that said, there's another perfect example of somebody's going to control, the town. It really should be the other way around. The town owns the property. The town should use that. Yeah, does Snug Harbor Restaurant and the condo there and Nervous Nellies, would they like to keep a beautiful park so their customers can enjoy it, eat dinner and sit out there? Sure, that'd be great, but they're doing that at the town's and the residents' expense and the mooring field's expense. So the bottom line is I really think council should go back and look at this again. Unless you want to spend $10 million, you are never going to find property on the waterfront in a commercial area. You probably couldn't even at that.
Mr. Beasley,
Yeah.
you're preaching to the choir.
Okay.
The vote was basically 4-1. I was in favor of placing it there all along. I continue to believe that that would be the best place for it. It's not going to happen. The other members of council, well, first of all, the council changed. We had elected 3 new members between the time the old council went for the building there. You had 3 new council members come on, and then they received a lot of public outcry. I think they are cemented in their positions based on what I've heard them say. But I agree with you totally.
Well, that's unfortunate, and I'll go on record as saying that is really a stupid move on their part.
We've all been called stupid on the council before, so.
Well, I want it on record because that's ridiculous.
I agree with you that it's the best place.
Well, I've said my piece, so.
If I could, Doug Ekman for the record, if I could add to Robert's comments, and I'm new on the committee, but I took one look at that and I agree 110% with what Robert's saying. It's the best place. I think council ought to take a fresh look at it, personally. But I don't know if that can happen. I agree totally.
Thank you, Doug. Greg?
Yeah, Greg Holmes. Yeah, I like to reiterate the same thing. I agree too. And I think there was just a few commercial people that made the big outcry and got a couple people upset over it. But I think you need to look at it, and you think you'll find a lot more people think it's a great place to have it. It's going to be a good image for the town to have something really nice looking for it, to welcome boating people.
I can tell you that having received the emails that all the other council members received, it was not just a couple of businesses. Now, it may be that the businesses got citizens to send us emails, but I got, I'm guessing, a couple of dozen contacts, not just from businesses, but being that you all feel strongly about it, I suggest I'm willing to bring it up, but I would suggest that you all need to contact these other council members personally. It's much stronger than if it comes through me and I just say the committee says.
I can tell you Bayside Park is going out to bid for construction April.
That's another reason I think it's unlikely they'll change their minds at this point.
Mike, would you like to add to that, or is everything?
Well, I think everyone has pretty well said. It troubles me from a more general point of view how, and I'll address these on the record as well. I have watched this community since Hurricane Charlie almost be in a, what I would call stasis. Nothing gets done. And a lot of times that has to do with, it appears to me, special interest groups, very narrow objectives get the attention of town council members. Then we don't do anything and we make some pretty bad decisions for the future of our community.
Ted, are you pretty much in agreement? Would you like to add anything to the conversation?
I don't really have anything specific, but having followed this, I felt strongly that would be the best place. And I don't have the information as Bob does to back up my position, but in general, that is my opinion as well.
To add one more thing, by going out to bid and having the upland services outsourced, we're at the mercy of those who actually respond. So hoping that, we do have some responses back after summertime, but we are at the mercy of those who respond and hopefully have the facilities that we require.
In addition to what Chelsea just said, there's a lot of rumor and innuendo. I don't know the facts about Matanzas. They're doing construction. They have a lot of things going on. I'm not sure if there's ownership changes or what's going on, but I think Chelsea was saying that you can never guarantee who's going to bid or what's going to be available in the future. With all that in mind, I'd like to make a motion in an attempt to get the attention of council. I'd like to move that in light of the developments at Harbor House, that the Anchorage Advisory Committee recommends revisiting having our facilities located at Bayside. For a second?
Second.
Doug seconds. Discussion? I think we just had the discussion, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. And on top of that, I suggest that members of town council watch the YouTube video of this meeting from 9:15 till 9:30. If they're not already watching it, as part, they have a lot of stuff to watch, but I think it's important that they watch from 9:15 to 9:30 of today's meeting to get our comments on that.
At every council meeting, not at management and planning, but official council meetings, which are the first and third Mondays of the month, there is a section on the agenda for council report or committee reports. I would suggest you show up at the next council meeting and convey this motion to the council, bring that item. You don't have to be on the agenda, you just show up and you stand up and speak during the committee reports section.
And will they be notified of the passage of this motion?
That's how you notify them unless you email them.
Can you email them that we passed this motion?
I'm not supposed to do that. I can
Oh, you're our liaison.
write, but it's
Each committee,
supposed to come from you technically,
Okay,
Chair.
I can do that. I can just email them what I just said, and they can watch the video and hear the motion.
But strongly, I suggest that somebody show up at that section, speak on the agenda, and you don't have to sit through the whole meeting. It's toward the beginning of the meeting.
On the later side, after all my emails, I hope they read it. Well. Okay, anything else under upland service provider? Strategic planning review and communication plan. And we've kind of been updating that as we're going. Anything we need to
We're
update on that?
plugging away at what we can. It's peak season, so, we're all kind of above water barely, so, but we'll keep plucking at it, and if there's anything that this committee feels that is a higher priority than others, let us know. I know we have been, Randy, I think has been working with Austin and trying to push out some social media posts or, promoting the mooring field. Then DACWA, I know that's been pushed out a couple times. I think DACWA that we got an announcement on, they did. Anywho,
And we'll just keep updating the dates and just do them as we can. Number items and reports. We'll start with,
Before we
ahead,
go
Austin.
into that, can I just go over some derelict boat issues?
Yeah, please.
Is that okay? As we all know, Fort Myers Beach, we've had an accumulation of derelict boats in the area. Not only that, but the sunken boats as well. We've all been through, I think, a couple meetings where we've discussed the process of what this takes to get these boats removed and everything that entails. At this time, I mean, the boats, the sheriff's department has been working endlessly to get them removed. But I've asked Chris Nice, Lieutenant here, to come in and go over some of the things that they've been doing and how far they've come within just a short amount of time to get these boats removed. So if it's all right, if Chris came up and talked about what he's been doing and getting these boats removed, that'd be all right?
Yeah, please.
I'd like to say that going up and down the bay, that's obvious that somebody's removed a lot of the vessels that were been there for a while. It was really good.
Well, here's that somebody right here.
Oh, okay.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for the invite. My name is Chris Nice. I'm the lieutenant with the Lee County Sheriff's Office Marine Unit. Been a supervisor here now for 15 years. Over the last couple of years, we've run into some speed bumps with derelict vessel process. Not so much at the county level, but more at the state level. The speed bumps have since been smoothed out. The new Florida statute has come out. We have our standard operating procedures in place, so we're able to take care of these issues now. And so some of the boats that you've seen that have been here for literally a couple of years that we've been trying to get pulled are now gone. It was nice to drive over to Little Carlos Bridge this morning and see it, both sides of the bridge looking, I think, is much better. It's been a long, tedious process for us, and I know a long time coming for you guys too. So thank you for your patience. Sheriff's Office has taken the responsibility for Fort Myers Beach area with all of the derelict vessels. So we'll be dealing with just the Sheriff's Office for our area. Any complaints will come directly to me and we'll get those taken care of. With that being said, the statute is very clear. There's really no deviation from that process. The Sheriff's Office will not deviate from that legal process and the investigation that has to follow, simply because liability reasons and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, it is a lengthy process. It's a good process. I believe we have it, in place and we're moving forward. I think over the last 4 months, we've taken out in total in the area like 15 derelict vessels. So, moving forward. Not done, but we're moving forward, and there's like another 7 or 8 that are on the list to be pulled now. So, and again, the process is long. It doesn't happen overnight, but being able to keep up on it and get those boats out of there within about a 3-month period.
you guys have made a lot of headway, seriously, in the last couple months. It's been, a welcoming process that they've taken on, and I know it's government in and of itself is a long process, and then you deal with personal property. So kudos to the Sheriff's Office. I know Lee County Department of Natural Resources, FBC, Austin. Honestly, there's a lot of hands in the pot, but these guys are the ones out there making it happen. So
The whole COVID thing and then the statute changes really set us back, but now that the courts are open again, we're full steam ahead. So.
anybody have any questions for the lieutenant?
No, but they're doing a great job. You can see a difference when you go around already. It's made a huge difference.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, especially Hurricane Pass, because we've always worried that if somebody dragged and damaged the bridge, that would shut off the entire island.
There's some other things that are coming down the pike from the state. Regulations as far as nuisance vessels go, things like that are on the desk in Tallahassee but have not been signed yet. So see some more things to help us out coming down the road.
Appreciate you coming.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you to everyone.
Okay, anything else before members' item and reports? We'll start with Doug. Do you have any member items?
No, sir, I don't.
Bob?
No, I pretty much said mine already, that I really think they don't revisit going back to the fountain area, that they're missing the boat on this one. They're not going to have that opportunity again.
Mike?
Well, I would just add that I am in complete support of what Bob has said, because one of my concerns is Bob and I believe, are the two remaining members who've been on this committee from its inception. And the mooring field came about as a result of the Back Bay being really sort of the Wild West of anchoring. So I have serious concerns about the future of the mooring field itself. We do not, in fact, aggressively do something about an upland provider. And it seems to me, as Bob has said, I would like the town council, because I want it on their record. If they do not do something which I think is the correct thing to do, I don't want it on this advisory committee. I want it on the town council, because it's going to be a long-term problem if they don't act.
Greg?
Yeah, I was just, when you send that letter to the town council, we be copied on it, and then just kind of remind us what day the town council meet, and that it would be great if our presence was there.
Chelsea can let you know when the town comes. It's the first
and third Mondays of the month.
Monday. So we're already past the third Monday, so it's going to be the first Monday of April,
9 a.m.
9 a.m. And either myself or Kathy will be here. Do that. If you want to come to the meeting, you can talk during the committee reports, because you're a member of the committee. Or only
One
person.
representative speaks during committee reports. Other people can speak during public
You
comment.
can do the beginning public comment, so you won't have to wait through the whole meeting. So I'd urge you to do that. And maybe I'm going to write the council, and basically, rather than trying to reiterate the whole thing, tell them what the motion was and tell them to watch this YouTube video. And I urge everybody else to email them individually. Do not carbon copy any of the other members. Anything else? Anything else, Greg? Ed?
It's been many months since we've had any report of the occupancy and revenue from the group. We have no idea how it is going, and I think that it is time for something for us to get a response. If they're said they're not going to do it, well, okay, but if they keep hanging on and saying yes, maybe, I just think we need to know how the field is doing, and we don't have any idea. So I don't know how we might go about encouraging the staff and administration to provide us with materials to know how the field is going.
Yeah, Chelsea, an opportunity to.
So we've had a changeover of staff upstairs, and I can tell you based on October through February, general number report that was run through DACWA, revenue was about $75,000 for those months, October through the end of February. Right now, occupancy, we have 59 moorings occupied. So, in the last couple of weeks, we've been near capacity. But we can work on I can work on getting you occupancy, but the numbers have to really come from our finance department. Like I said, they've had some recent changeovers of staff, so they're working on that.
Monthly occupancy would be a very great first step.
Okay,
And so we can at least see on paper what you just said.
I think I have that and I can send that to you all.
Great.
They can include the historical data too? We already have that.
Monthly since we got our last one last June or whatever.
I can give you the report run through DACWA. Finance is the one who updates that big Excel book that you guys have seen forever.
I assume that the finances, as they always have, track with the occupancy. There's been no change in rates or anything that we should expect any change. And so it seems to me if we have the occupancy accurately, we can assume similar on the financial receipts. Reasonable, there's been no ratio change there.
Other than the sales tax going back in and then the 3.5% processing fee.
Well, it'd be wonderful to have monthly since the last time we got it occupancy.
I can give you October through February. Sure.
So we're lost on June, July, August, or
I
September.
have to find out if that's been updated by finance, but I can definitely run the DACWA report for you easily.
Quite useful to have a continuum. Thank you.
Austin, do you want to mention the board that you just put up yesterday?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I've been doing some work down there at the dinghy dock, if you guys want to swing by there. I've been putting some landscaping in there as well. I've painted some guardrails. We've got our message board went up as well. I cleaned up the pegboard that they had in there. I took down all the help wanted signs and whatever anybody else was putting in there. Locked it down and put in an informational board with everything that the town has to offer for as far as information that needs to be put out to the mooring field. So that's been put up as well. So the hoses and everything's still operating. Everything's operating wonderful under the bridge.
Austin? Anything else from staff?
Yeah, I have one more
Greg,
comment.
go ahead.
I won't be at the next meeting, April 15th. They'll be sailing.
All right.
First trip to St. Pete.
Thanks. That sounds like an excuse.
Shouldn't get lost.
Anything else from staff? Anything else from members? Just a reminder that the Fort Myers Beach Town Council meeting, next one will be Monday, April 5th, day after Easter at 9 a.m. right here. Everybody's welcome to do a public comment, especially about the things that we've discussed today.
You can email individually in the meantime.
Yes, please. Everybody at least do a short email, and I know what my email is going to say. It's going to include the motion we made, and it's also going to encourage them to watch our meeting today. It's only 40 minutes. They can start 10 minutes into it and see all our comments. Doug?
I've got some thoughts too that previously sent the town manager draft, and I'll send.
Yes. When we send emails, usually you can go in there and get everybody's email on council, and as long as you're going to put all that trouble to do the council, it's usually a good idea to copy Roger also, because he's in touch with everything, and that way he doesn't have to be filled in at a meeting. And
You can use council. We have a group email, just the word council at, what is it, fmb.gov?
fmbgov.com.
Of.com.
suffix as everybody else, and just do
Gets the
council
entire
out.
council and the town manager, is my understanding,
Can you
is on
send
it.
that email out, just to like all of us, just so we got it, and we can just copy and paste it?
That'd be great.
That was council@fmb.gov.
fmbgov.com.
The same suffix as Roxanne at FMB.
Yeah, it's the same suffix for everybody. You just change the name to the word council.
That's very helpful. Saves a lot of copying and pasting. Anything else from members or staff? Is there any additional public comment? Any from the public? On anything? The next meeting?
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
Come to the
Have to go to
Come
mic,
to
the
the
please.
mic and introduce yourself, please.
Yep. Want to know who you are.
I'm Steve Goebel. I'm on the mooring field, slip away. There is a little confusion on Kansas, Daqua, Austin, on how big a boat can fit on the mooring balls. I had two other friends with me that would take empty mooring balls, and they were told the boats are too big. So Matanzas got one idea. Austin has told me that the swing radius on most of the balls will accommodate much bigger boats. So if we could get that message to everybody, I think would be helpful. I'm a 50-foot boat. No problem swinging I'm on number one, of course. And number one is the designated big boat, but there's a lot of other, and our friend had a 46 boat. They would not allow him to park on ball number 4. And that certainly isn't a swing radius. So anyways, that's my only comment.
Well, Austin, correct me if I'm wrong, but what happens is you don't tie up to a ball until you are assigned a ball. You check in.
That's supposed to be
That's the
what's happening.
procedure. So you really, it's not your choice of ball. You can ask for a preference, I think, but you don't just pick a ball. You are assigned a ball, and it is based on availability, and it's based on the size of the boat.
And that's how we did it, yeah.
Right, and you can I guess you can ask for a preference, but that won't guarantee that you're going to get that one. But you can ask for a preference, but the procedure is to check in before you tie up to the ball.
If I understand correctly, you did check in, correct?
We did. We went through Daqua.
Right.
We did check in. Matanzas said, we're very sorry, there is no mooring balls available for your size vessel.
In this case, the 46-footer.
Correct. And me too. That's what they said. And
the
I
size-
said, but I looked in the mooring field, I said, 1, 2, 3, and 4 are available. And after last year or thereabouts talking to Austin, he said, there are balls available for 50-foot vessels. And I knew number one was one of those. And I asked Matanzas, I said, well, what about mooring ball number 1? And well, anyways, they gave it to me, but
Yeah, we've been running into this issue quite a bit. My understanding of the systems is we do have a set radius that is for each ball, has a set radius. With the variables that encounter those balls, though, we can go outside of those radiuses depending on these, what's around different balls, who's renting those balls out and things like that. It's just doing the due diligence of checking in what is on what ball and then assigning accordingly where these people need to go. What I'm running into is that there's basically just a cookie cutter process that's going on. It's if your boat's this, then it's fitting that. If it's this, it's fitting that. There's no variances or anything getting added into the variables of where these swing radiuses or these different boats can go. So if he's coming into the field with a 50-foot boat, they're looking at the sheet, looking at swing radiuses, and if there's not a 50-foot swing radius on the boat, then we don't have any occupancy for a 50-foot radius. Unless, there's like a ball 68 where there's nobody renting back there. I mean, that will open up that radius to ball 68 to something. You just can't rent out the balls that are around it. It's just doing the due diligence of working and applying the radiuses to the systems, and that's not being done. So that's why we're running into these issues here. And that's why I'm referring to the customers, yeah, we can get you in there, but let me do some work in here and we'll work you in where we can. It's just not getting done through the upline provider at this time, so that's why
Matanzas has been notified to not turn people away if there is a radius issue, to work with Austin because he's got the eyes in the field. But that's the issues that we're running across now is people, or at least people were being turned away because they didn't fit the cookie cutter mold. When in reality, if we're not at capacity, we might be able to accommodate a larger vessel, knowing that we wouldn't be able to rent out one or two surrounding it, et cetera. So we are trying to accommodate, the visitors, new people coming into the field, and we want to make a joyful experience for them. And one of the hurdles having an upland service provider not having eyes in the field. It relies on town staff to do that, so. But I'm happy we were able to accommodate you all, and welcome to Fort Myers Beach.
My last comment, our pump out was fantastic. And Austin was more than helpful, and let me come back next week and the week we're there for a month. I mean, it's a great service, and it's been so windy. And on a mooring ball is a very safe thing compared to being anchored. And we like to anchor too, but not in big wind. There's drag issues out there, dragging an anchor going into the channel, and you guys know the whole scenario. Anyways, that's my piece. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. I think just that you said 46, I think that was the magic word. I think we have 45-foot accommodation and up to 55-foot accommodation, and I think the 46 might have just triggered that. I think they're 45 and 55 are our changes.
The
and that's
radius is on
probably
both.
what triggered the problem.
Well, and
So
then
little too
what
big.
was so funny about that, a few days later, there's another 50-foot boat on the same one that they denied a 46-foot boat to be on. Ball number 4 or ball number, right there in my little circle of friendships.
All right, thanks for working with us there.
If I may, this is Mike Ratliff again. To me, this only reinforces the need for a full-time, in-house staff who fully understands how the mooring field is supposed to operate. This is nothing against Matanzas. They've been a wonderful partner. However, they are running another business separate from the mooring field. This is just another example of why we needed and still continue to need a real upland system to support the mooring field. Unless, and the first time I sailed in here was 1984. And I can tell you, anchoring in that back bay back there was an adventure. And there were boats going up against property owners, seawalls, etc. There was no ecological, nothing was being taken into consideration. We have a diamond in the rough here. I'm very afraid that we're going to just let it go. Because you cannot stop people from anchoring back there. Mooring field goes right back where we were in 1984.
I'd like to add on to what he said, Bob Beasley, for the record. He mentioned it was the Wild West. It really was. I live on the bay. All the bayfront owners up and down there were having terrible problems. A lot of them would go back home or be on vacation. They'd come back. Even at my house, there would be razors and shampoo and all kinds of bath items because they're using your swimming pool to bathe and everything. We had boats in the summer storms that would drag. They would, and these are the more like derelict, abandoned type vessels, not the people that take care of their boats. And they would drag, and they would be one sailboat had its bow on top of a piling, and it ended up like this after a storm. And it was on my neighbor's dock. Of course, you call the Coast Guard. We can't do nothing about it. Call the sheriff. Call the sheriff. Sheriff said, call somebody else. Call this, call that. You call everybody. Nobody do a thing. And it was just, this was constant all the time. So once the town put that mooring field in, all this craziness stopped. People quit going in and out of people's yards and going to 7-Eleven or wherever they happen to be wanting to go. It really has provided a good service. And obviously it has helped the residents on top of it.
Mooring field isn't going away. We've agreed with DEP that we'd hold it for 10 plus years. So it's just the upland services. We have to make sure that's a requirement of the submerged land lease and agreement with the state. And we are required to hold that, just like It's any other permit. We're required to have showers, laundry, bathrooms, running water, garbage. The fab
Well, the
thought.
mooring field may not go away. If you do not have adequate upland facilities, you'll have a lot of empty mooring balls. That's what will happen. So we hear from time to time about, going back to Ted's comment, or about lost, and this gentleman's, about the boats being turned away. That's lost revenue. So I think it's very, again, I think it's so short-sighted, kowtowing to special interest groups, to what the town council has done.
I was here in 1984 too, and Wild Wild West is putting it mildly. It was a free-for-all with everybody out there. It was, that could never happen anywhere in this time and day, like, ever. It was like another country. Okay, any other public comment? Okay, set the next meeting for,
Just to confirm, all of these items that are on your agenda, that's what you want to keep for your next
oh yeah,
meeting,
for the
correct?
agenda. Sorry, did I miss that? Oh, set the agenda. I think we'll just keep those items. Anybody suggest we add anything or delete anything? Keep the agenda the same. Next meeting's Wednesday, April 21st. A reminder, the town council meeting is the day after Easter, 9 a.m. on April 5th. Anybody move for adjournment?
Bob Beasley, move for adjournment.
Mike Ratliff, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned at 9:53 a.m. See you next
Thank you.
meeting.
St. Patty's Day.